Well, unfortunately, this seems to be a subject matter that touches everyone's life, that we want to or not. Either it touches a friend, a family member, or someone that we love dearly. Um, I have had the opportunity of seeing my mother conquer her cancer, breast cancer to be specific, and it's because they actually found a small lump, the smallest that you could actually diagnose is about the diameter of this pinky finger, and that's as big as they'll actually attempt to remove. So they did a lumpectomy. They didn't even bother doing a biopsy. My mom simply said, "Do a lumpectomy, take it out." They took it out, and it was cancerous. But because they acted so promptly, they investigated. They did some exploratory surgery, which is part of the therapy to see if you're. Um, I'm trying to think what the term is. The primary ganglion. I'm trying to think if that's the proper term, which is it's covered in my mom's video, by the way, which is on my channel. Um, they had to go from her breast to the underarm where the primary ganglion is, and they checked to see if the ganglion was affected. If there's no cancer there, there's no cancer in anywhere in the lymphatic system, so that's a good thing. Then they put her on radiation therapy, which sounds nasty, but it wasn't as bad as it seemed. Worst case scenario for her was an increase in fatigue towards the end of the treatment and the reddening of the skin in the affected areas around her chest. She was more concerned about the radiation affecting her lungs. Luckily enough, no. And right now she's relaxing with her family over in Florida. So she's taking it in stride, and she's actually lived to tell it, and she's encouraging others not to be afraid of it. In my family, apparently, it is a big issue for breast cancer. There's a history of it. My grandmother on my mom's side um, passed away, but we're unsure if she passed away because of complications due to the breast cancer or the breast cancer itself. Another one of my aunts actually had that too. As to my side of the family, where my dad's grandmother's concerned, she passed away because of a primary cancer in her liver. Now, the woman was never an alcoholic. She might enjoy a beer once in a while, but I've never seen her drink, really, apart from being with friends and family. And that was very seldom when it came to it. As for smoking, when I was younger, smoking was allowed in her house. So anyone who smoked, smoked. And possibly that might have impacted her health. And I do mean possibly, because it depends on the constitution of a person, but I'm a firm believer that secondhand smoke has a devastating effect on anyone who's exposed to it on a constant basis. She went to bingo halls, which were the smokiest places you could ever go to. Dance halls at the time were not smoke free, pardon me. But she was as fit as a fiddle, lived to 85 years of age and a few months, and, or was it 84 and almost 85. Can't remember. But suffice it to say that she would have lived a healthier, a longer life if it wasn't for that bloody cancer. Killed her in 2 months. It was too big to take care of. We didn't know what to do. My grandmother didn't want to be operated on, so she decided I'm going to live the best of my life to my advantage. She came out of the hospital less than 2 weeks after coming out of the hospital. She felt tremendous pain. She packed up her suitcases, 2 suitcases to be specific, called my dad and my mom, told her, "Come and get me, bring me back to the hospital, and this time I'm not leaving." Unfortunately, I never got to see her before she passed away. I saw her 2 months beforehand. I was lucky enough for that. But she passed away in October. She even kept her sense of humor regardless of the amount of pain that she was suffering through and the amount of opium that she was being given. I'm trying to remember what morphine. It's an opium derivative. And my mother and my father had 24-hour vigils that were actually being passed together one would take a 12-hour shift, the other one would go home and actually take another 12-hour shift the day after. And they even brought the motorhome over to the hospital and parked it in the administration area so that they could have a temporary refuge outside to refresh one's soul and emotions from having to be with someone that you loved very dearly that was slowly wasting away. Unfortunately, anything in life has a devastating effect on anything. Truth be told, the human body fights cancerous cells every single second of its life. Depending on your health factors, you will either have a severe increase in genetic material that deforms and warps itself to the point of non-recovery, where it then becomes cancerous, and then can cause issues. If your body doesn't fight it and kill it, it will duplicate faster than it can, and sometimes, even if it does, it'll develop tumorous growth, and the body will fight the tumorous growth, and then will eliminate the growth ever so slowly by absorbing it. I mean, we have the best defense at our fingertips, but yet we pollute it by doing so many bad things that we don't even take into consideration. Walking in the traffic area, the unfortunate air pollutants that are released by vehicles pollute us. Any items that we use from manufacturing, that we buy due to our obscene consumerism in most cases, can pollute us. A lot of things have been discovered to cause increases in cancer. For example, testosterone, not testosterone, but I'm trying to think of what progesterone, similar items in foods, for example, can increase one's risk to certain diseases, cancers. Foods that you eat that are grown in non-organic environments can have an increase in pesticide, insecticide, even in small doses over a long period of time, will cause unfortunate cascading effects in your health. All of this can be cured by staving off a lot of the effects, but even then, nothing is a surefire cure from death. That's about the only thing that's secure in life: death and taxes. Well, depending on the country you're in, death. Taxes is a different measure. But, I mean, take it in stride. One of the things I've learned in life is that you can get yourself worried over everything and you'll end up dying because you'll be overly worried. No point. But there's no point in going the opposite direction either, because if you do that, you'll bring yourself to an early grave not worrying. A little bit of worry, a little bit of caution is fine. A little bit of freedom and a little bit of looseness is fine. Moderation is key, period. Anyways, I'm sorry to hear that your two friends, Pete, are affected by it. Hopefully we'll never hear of you being affected by your smoking or drinking. Of course, who knows? Look at George Burns. The man lived to being over to a ripe old age, and he died of anything but his cigars and his little alcoholic moderative treats. I don't think he actually drank that much alcohol. He was fond on the cigars. But anyways, have a nice one.